Yeah. We pulled some strings. The internet works. All right. I think I'm ready. As ready as I'll ever be.
All right, I'll try again.
Welcome everybody to episode 129 of the You Can't Comp This NBA Trading Card Podcast. We are your hosts, Adam, Amy, and Russell Gibson. It is Friday night. The trade deadline is gone.
It's not our usual podcasting day, but
Stuff's
some
happened.
people have Christmas, some people have Hanukkah. I have the trade deadline. As far as I'm concerned, this is my Christmas, so I
Yeah,
couldn't think of anything better to do than do a podcast. So I say let's go.
let's hit it. Today's been a huge day. In Australia, obviously, it's the 9th of February, but over in the United States, it was also the 8th of February, which means it was 08/02/24, the day that, yes, I get to speak about it. Kobe Bryant's personification was immortalized, I guess, at
That is a mouthful, lad.
Crypto Arena, with the first of 3 statues unveiled today. It was a very emotional ceremony. I watched a little bit of it, and I plan to watch it again. But yeah, very, very emotional day. Very fitting unveiling, I think.
Yeah, I think having it on YouTube and on Facebook Live for free is, for me, genius.
Yeah.
I think they executed that really well.
Yeah.
And then, in contrast, I have League Pass, which is a paid subscription. I tried to go on today to watch some of the footage, maybe of the Kobe thing, maybe see some live commentary about the trade deadline as it's unfolding. Just nothing,
Yeah.
I think having that live footage that everyone can access, everyone can watch on demand, I think that's a really good way to reach people, and particularly stuff like this. I think, I don't know how the numbers work, but surely they can make enough money out of monetizing that with advertisements or whatever in the middle. Do you know what I mean? Like, surely they can make it all work.
We all pay for, like, those that do pay, for League Pass. We pay a pretty penny every season just for the privilege, and the only thing we get is NBA games that cut out halfway through, that the audio is never great.
We don't want to segue into a whinge about League Pass, do we? But I think it's been worse this year than previous years.
It's been good in parts, but there are additional features that I think they really need to come to the party with.
The streaming service that streams.
It's a good idea.
Yeah.
I mean, but you're right, covering things like the trade deadline.
Yeah.
You're generating so much revenue from the viewers. This is an important part of the season. This is, like, it's not just the hobby, it's the sport itself. Like, the trade deadline is huge.
Look, to be honest, actual content today was pretty good. So Simmons had a podcast out. I think he must have been podcasting as the deadline was going, because then
I think he does. They do that though. They're very.
So he had 2 up today. Then I'm just, again, looking through my feed. Woj had 1 up. Zach Lowe did. The Ringer. Ryan Russillo did. And the King's Beat podcast, which, I'm sure millions of people subscribe to that.
It's always at the top of my do not subscribe list.
I mean, that to me is like a real contrast when you think about it. There was no TV coverage live, but you can have, a handful of podcasts. That's interesting.
Is it a news thing? Is it a way that enthusiasts consume the media? Like, do the people on League Pass not want to see this stuff?
But even if it was 2 dudes, okay, let's just say it was Woj just sitting there on a webcam that was streaming on NBA TV, I still would have watched that.
I know a lot of people that would.
Yeah.
That's why I'm confused. Like, I get it. It might take away from the podcast content to an extent, but the live updates and the...
That's what you want.
I mean, just for the last day.
Yeah.
Like, it's not for the whole period. It's like, have a countdown. Have
Yeah,
like build it up.
yeah.
It's a very important part of the season.
And it's awesome too. Like, it's just awesome to see trades go through, and
Yeah.
you're sort of dreaming of your team, getting draft picks or getting current players, whatever it is. So
Yeah.
anyway, look, we've segued hard within the first 5 minutes of the pod. So I think, look, we should start with Kobe, because I know how close Kobe is to your heart. And I know this is something,
Yeah.
without lack of a better word, special to you. So why don't we talk about Kobe? Tell us about your feelings of the unveiling today.
It was
I can't repeat.
I was
can't
trying to
repeat the words
sneak
you
it.
said
I was trying to
before.
sneak at work. I was trying to sneak a peek at work. I do want to watch the whole lot,
I'm
but
sure you can watch it again, surely.
it's definitely, yeah. Well, the Facebook Live video will be
Yeah.
available, I'm sure.
Yeah.
It was nice. I listened to a little bit of what Phil Jackson had to say, and the minute he gained respect for Kobe, which was a sort of a different take and on some. It's interesting how different people through Kobe's career have different views on different times, and they've divulged different things. And I think everybody talks about things Kobe's done, but Phil Jackson was very very eloquent the way the day he gained the most respect for Kobe was the day that somebody put down a teammate of theirs who was a role player on the bench. And they're like, who is this guy? And Kobe just stood in and went, he's part of our team. He puts in the work. I don't want him disrespected. He's as much a part of this as I am.
That's awesome.
And Phil Jackson really made a point of that. So
Yeah.
I think it was good. I think it was really good. But yeah, look, I'll admit I was at work and a tear did come to my eye. It was very emotional. I think Vanessa spoke very well. I think the anticipation of what was coming was really special for me.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh, what moment could it be? And then when they unveiled it, and it was the number 8, hand in the air, after it hit 81 points, it's like, of course it is.
It's an awesome statue. I've got to say that.
Yeah,
And there are some statues better than others
I agree.
throughout the
Agree.
NBA
Yeah.
landscape. And I would actually put this one in terms of proportion, size, and also the details applied to it. I would put that, really close to the top. Honestly, they've done a really good job with it.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I think it's great, and it's one of 3 that are going to be unveiled. They said there's going to be
Yeah,
one.
talk to us about that. Yeah.
Vanessa said there's going to be 3 statues around Crypto.com Arena, formerly the Staples Center. There's one in his number 8, which was unveiled today, which is from the 81-point game. We don't know what the other 2 are going to be, but one will be in the number 24, which is the second half of Kobe's career.
Yeah.
And
that's
then
cool.
there'll be one that is Kobe and Gianna. So,
And that's a
sort of-
nice touch from the Lakers. Yeah.
Yeah, and Vanessa said that I suppose this is part of the project, and it's called the house that Kobe built. And I was speaking to you off air about this. Like, Magic and Kareem kind of started this dynasty over at the Forum, and then the second phase of that was when they moved from the Forum to Staples, and that's when Kobe and Shaq took the world by storm, and
Yeah.
and this second phase of the Lakers dynasty was built and paved. So I think it's very nice that there's not many players in NBA history that you can say that this makes sense to do. There's probably one other that I said that I think might down the track think about a similar narrative, but it might be 3 statues in 3 cities.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's
Yeah,
not
I think
many
you're talking
people.
about LeBron.
Very much so. But like,
But I suppose that the difference is, though, is that like Kobe was taken too soon. I think that's the nicest way to say it. Isn't
for
it?
sure,
And
for
that-
sure.
And there is something. I think for me, the ironic part of this is that he was gone before Magic was, and I think
Yeah.
if we're having this conversation 20 years ago, that narrative just doesn't make sense.
It
And
doesn't.
I think
No.
probably in my head, look, I'm not nearly as there's not the same emotional attachment
Yep.
for me with Kobe that you have. But I will say this is that it's when you see days like this, it's when you actually realize, yeah, he's not here anymore. And this is the stuff that, he is missing out on, seeing his kids grow up and seeing his statues and his jerseys being retired, all that stuff, like it's a tragedy, isn't it? Yeah.
Definitely.
So,
yeah.
Yeah, I was gonna say, any like final thoughts, and I think what we should do, I think appropriately for this show, is talk about Kobe Bryant cards. So I've got a couple I definitely want to talk about, and I'm sure you've got more than a couple you would like to raise.
Look, I was going to say it's probably the one I keep going back to the most as far as the cards that I've got, and that's the closing statements.
Yeah. Okay.
And I think today's a really good day to mention that card because that's.
And get your Kobe's out and look at them today, Ad. I feel like this is the day. Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. I've got my case tucked away at the moment, but yeah, that's something I will do. I did reflect a lot after seeing the unveiling, and yeah, it was one of those days, like that closing statement, to be there for a part of history, that means a lot to me. Like I've seen a lot of the statues at Staples, and now I guess it's on the list to get back to crypto and see these.
Yeah, definitely.
This series.
Or wait till the series is done and then check it back out.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. So yeah, the closing statements is probably the card that's one of the nearest and dearest.
I think you better put this on socials, Ad.
I will. I think it was episode 100, but I showed that card. But I'm not trying to pitch at people to go back and listen to episode 100.
It'd be just easier if you posted it on socials.
I will post it on socials.
Yeah.
There's another couple. Obviously, the Topps Chrome, one of the most iconic Kobe rookies.
That's the one. So I can see it in my head without you even seeing the picture. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think they're probably my two most iconic. And then I've got a couple of Kobe autos that I will share a little bit on socials.
Yeah.
Just to pay tribute to the house that Kobe built.
So I was thinking about it today. If I was going to buy a Kobe today, what would I buy?
Mm-hmm.
And my thought process hasn't moved a lot since I bought my Kobe. So I bought a Kobe in the last 12 months.
Yep.
I got a 2012-13 Elite Signatures on-card autograph,
nice.
Numbered to 199. Considering where the market was, I was very happy what I paid for it. The boys at EJ Cards looked after me really well. So, that's fine. I've done that. Now, if I had unlimited funds, where would I go? Where would I be looking at? So I did find this one, which I'm not going to lie to you, I was slightly frothing over. So 1819 sneaker spotlight.
Is this the one where? Oh no, it's not. It's a different one.
So this is the horizontal one.
Yep.
Numbered to 49, on card autograph.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously it's got the noir edges, but geez, that is an absolute spectacular card. Now, what I think we should do for our own socials is do like the card ladder graph. So I found the last 3 sales.
Ooh.
In January 2020, it sold for $3,050 USD.
Oh boy, this is going to be very interesting.
August 2020, it sold for 10,100 USD. And then November 26, 2023, it sold for 20,000 AUD. So 20,000 AUD.
Wait, 20,000 USD.
AUD. So that's 13,000 USD it sold for.
Oh wow.
So it's very, very steadily gone up over the last 3 years. What's that?
Mm-hmm.
Nearly 4 times up.
That's crazy.
So,
that is.
I think a card like that is, I think the only way to say it is iconic, isn't it? Really, and I think the price is reflecting that.
Yeah, that's actually a pair of Kobe's that I did want to own. Funnily enough.
They look great.
Yeah. Nice card. Very nice card.
Not bad. The other thing I want to raise with you too today was the game today. Everyone got given a jersey.
Wow.
And if you go onto eBay, they're already for sale on eBay. The actual material looks snake skin like.
Yeah.
So it's a Mamba, jersey.
Of course.
Yeah. So buy it now. They're sort of selling between that 300 and 350 USD mark.
Wow.
And there's also auctions currently listed. So the auctions will end the next sort of week or so. We can check back in on that. But Look, I'm not the biggest memorabilia collector, and I've said I'm not the biggest Kobe guy, but I got to tell you, they look absolutely amazing, and I'm gonna chuck a couple of bids on and see where it goes. I'm not expecting
Yeah,
to get one, but at the same time, yeah,
that's
absolutely delicious.
geez, they do it well down at Crypto.
Yeah,
They do.
it's a sick looking jersey, honestly.
They put on a show, and I tell you what, they look after the fans too. Like everybody that attended the game was really special. Everyone was wearing the Mamba, like the team wore the Mamba jerseys. They lost, but do you know what I mean? Like they really came out to really celebrate the life of Kobe Bryant today, which was
Yeah.
yeah, in the career. So yeah, very
If
special.
you could have any Kobe card, what would you be chasing down?
I'd want the refractor, the Topps Chrome refractor
Yep.
in the pristine BGS 10, like the black label.
Yep.
That I would want one of those. Personally, in the not worth more than $100,000, and I might actually one day be able to afford, would just
Yep.
be a Kobe Kaboom.
Yep.
That's now on the wish list.
Yep.
Is a Kobe Kaboom. I
So I
probably need to do that sooner rather than later at this rate.
I was going to say, I feel like that's the type of card that will just keep trickling up, though, won't it?
Yeah.
I don't really think it's going to spike up per se, and I don't think it's going to come crashing down either. You know, you might have some fluctuations here or there, but I can't really see that.
Yeah.
So I think, for me, I've already talked about this. I'm going through this sort of huge, like, veterans phase, and I'm just enjoying all that. And I'm a sucker for patches, and I'm a sucker for on-card autographs. So I think, for me, I think that's where I'd go, and that's what I'm just looking at now. I'm looking at 130 point.
Yeah.
I'm looking at some marketplace sales.
Ooh.
Vertical, flawless Kobe from 17-18. I love that year in terms of basketball cards.
Yeah.
BGS 9 sold for 8,500 USD, which is a ridiculous amount of money, but it's also not, like you said before, it's not like $100,000 either. Like it's, you know, in a crazy pipe dream, it's possible. But that seems to be about the going price for a Kobe patch autograph in that sort of,
Yeah.
you know, flawless card. They're all sort of around, well, there's one for 4.6, but they're all around that sort of 8 and a quarter, 8.5. Yeah.
It's phenomenal.
All right. Final thoughts on Kobe, mate?
It was a really special day. I can't wait to watch it again. Shame the Lakers didn't get the chocolates today, but they were playing the Nuggets, so
Nuggets are just a fraction better than the Lakers at the moment.
just a little bit.
I wouldn't take that too hard.
Yeah, I'm not really taking it too hard. I'm surprised my reaction to the actual statue. Like now that I think of number 8, that's the moment I do think of. Like it's not. There's a lot of comparing moments with Kobe, especially with the Jordan comparisons and the fadeaways and bits and pieces, like the parallels. That 81-point game is Kobe's. Like that's uniquely his, so it doesn't surprise me that that's his moment.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Do you think any haters will point that out, that was a moment of his individual success and not a moment of team success?
But this is a celebration of him, not the team.
Or am I going too far with that?
No, but that's the thing. Like, there's all this team success that he's been a part of.
Yeah.
This is uniquely just Kobe.
Yeah.
Like, you can read team into a lot of the other stuff. You can really, you know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely.
Like, this is probably the most selfish Kobe spotlight moment.
Yeah, there's like a lot of like LeBron haters, and he'll just get criticized for anything that he'll do.
This is true.
I just wondered if there'll be a bit of. Don't worry about it.
That's all right. We're not bringing the GOAT debate into it.
No, I definitely not. Let's go to a break anyway.
Cool.
Perfect. So then I'll be able to pick up that gap, and then I'll just copy and paste the ad into there. So
Sweet.
It's just heaps easier for me to bookmark. I'll just write a small note and then 1926.
That's the year I was born.
1926.
Yeah.
You wish. Alrighty, guys, welcome back. So we are here for Russell's Christmas Day, which is the NBA trade deadline bonanza. We are going to go through every single trade. Some of them we're going to go through a lot quicker than others for obvious reasons, but there's a bit here that I wanted to talk to you about. I think for me the big thing to talk about is the Charlotte Hornets. I think they've completely just, broken down their roster, and the Washington Wizards, you should really be paying attention to see how it's done, how you blow up a roster, and in 24 hours you basically just revamp your future. But I think I want to turn it over to you for the start, because I feel like you're not going to be as passionate as I am about this, but I definitely want to get your take. What is the one trade for you that you think is important, and who is the second part of the question is, who is the winner in your eyes of the trade deadline?
Biggest one and most important. I think, funnily enough, I actually think where is it? It's definitely not the Knicks Pistons trade. Where is it? Gordon Hayward is the one.
Yeah.
I think that's important. I think we spoke early in the season about the Thunder making a move with all the picks they had, and it's funny they still really haven't made a move still.
Yeah.
And they've got a veteran on board for this young core. They're heading to the playoffs, and they've just brought a veteran on board to steady the ship, so to speak.
That's right. So the argument could be made that they could make a colossal package and get, they could have been in the James Harden stakes if they wanted to.
Yeah, very, very easily.
Because you could make, okay, I'm going to make the argument that the biggest piece move this trade deadline was actually James Harden. Yes, it was a couple of weeks ago, but I think if you look back at the
trade, it's like a couple of months ago. Yeah, fair. No, you're right. You're right. It's part of the trade season.
Yeah, that's in my mind. That's like the biggest piece, So, but they had nothing to do with that at all. And
what about Siakam?
Look, I think that's a really good trade for both teams. Like, don't get me wrong, and I think also for Indiana, I've already said how high on this trade I was. I think he fits into them, but I think at the end of the day, I think the issue for Indiana is they've made a very clear delineation of how they're going to obtain talent, and they know it's not going to be through free agency. It has to be through trade. So I think, do you know what I mean? I think really for me, that's what the narrative for me. That's what it's all about.
Yeah. Look, I think I tend to agree with regards to Harden. I'm more, I guess, I'm focused around the February trades as far as this last minute. Yeah.
Of course. Talk to me about Gordon Hayward, because actually that's not the trade that I had in my head. So I think this is good for us to break down a difference. So why do you think this is so important?
Well, Gordon Hayward is, you look at what the Hornets are at the moment, and it's pretty obvious from what's happened that the Hornets are blowing everything up.
Yeah, definitely.
Like they realized how bad Washington are, and they're trying to be worse to try and fight for extra picks.
The irony is they'll probably be still better than Washington, but at least they've got.
They don't have Jordan Poole. They can't be worse.
Yeah.
But what they're doing is they're giving Gordon Hayward an opportunity. He's a veteran, and he's had some good seasons. But they're giving Gordon Hayward an opportunity, and the Hornets are starting to get pieces, right? So they can waive people, they can mash people around. They're accumulating picks to make other transactions in the future, and I think they're sending a clear message, which is the first time anyone's been clear about anything with Charlotte at the moment, like in a very long time. So I think they're signaling very clearly they're rebuilding, and they know what they're rebuilding around based on the moves they've made.
Yeah.
Right? Gordon Hayward now has an opportunity at a team that is one of the best in the West. And they haven't given up much to do it.
Yeah, so Gordon Hayward was traded for Vasily Micic, Trey Mann, Bertans, and 2 second-round picks from Houston and Philadelphia, and some cash. So really, that's just a salary filler, to get the
Yeah.
deal done. There's nothing really for me that's significant. Look, I think obviously the person I think with the most upside is Trey Man,
Yes. That's an interesting one. Like, it's an interesting
but
part of the deal, but
I think if that's the best player that you're getting back, like we're really talking about, the edges here. We're not talking about, something that's, going to move the needle enormously.
sure. I
So
think,
where do you think
yeah.
Hayward fits into the Thunder rotation? Because this for me is not cut and dry.
I think he's a good backup. I think he's a good role player. And I think he's veteran leadership for a group of young, enthusiastic players that are excited about to make their first playoff run.
Yeah. So you think he's not so much going to be playing 35 minutes a game. You think he's going to be just
20 to
talking to
25
them.
minutes, role
Yeah.
playing off the bench, giving advice to those players that have only been in the league a few years, and steadying the ship, so to speak.
Yeah.
It's like really giving some reassurance to that young core.
So ESPN has this thing called depth charts. And it is amazing how quickly they update them. And look, I don't think it's always accurate, but at the same time, they're pretty good. So they've got Gordon Hayward on the second unit playing small forward and power forward.
Really,
Yeah. Yeah, look,
I can see it. I can see
I
it.
probably agree with that.
He's got a history of injuries, so
Yeah.
I don't know. I think he's very versatile, and I think he fits in their system because he will fit, especially if he's on a successful team.
Yeah.
Yeah, interesting
All right.
trade. I thought it was good. I thought it was really good.
So I think for me, the winner is the Knicks because I actually think they got the best player on trade deadline, which was Bogdanovic. I probably rate him a bit
Yeah.
more than Hayward at the moment. Look, I think Hayward is probably a better shot creator, but I just feel like his athleticism's declined so much now that even Bogdanovic, who is 35 years of age, I still sort
Yeah.
of, in my head, he can just do a bit more and he's a bit more mobile. And also, his shooting is excellent. So,
Mm.
look, I'm really going to just lean into what Simmons said today. I'm not even claiming this is my own, but basically how he explained it was Bogdanovic is going to be perfect for the Knicks because he'll play the second unit minutes and he'll be the go-to guy, which is what they didn't have before with Jalen Brunson. So that's, where he fits in.
Mm.
I think for me, the other reason why I think this is such a good trade for the Knicks is they didn't give up any future assets. They just basically traded off, pieces that again,
Future
just,
second round picks are literally like
look,
it's not. They're not even really picks.
I'm not fussed about that at all. I think that's totally fine. I think also
Yeah.
too, the other thing you need to keep in mind here is Evan Fournier, who's basically been playing just like did not play coach decision the entire season.
Yeah.
To replace that with Alex Burks, that's the other one too, because this is to me like where I think we do need to have a bit of conversation around Thibs, and we've talked about this with OG, right? We know he has particular guys. There's also a part of my head where I'm like, I don't think Bogdanovic is going to be playing crunch time, but maybe Alex Burks could be. And I actually like
It's
him
interesting.
in terms of he's like a bit more rugged for me, and I can see him like getting a bit of time. Look, I think in terms of
Solid.
fantasy, I was going to say fantasy wise, but card hobby wise, which is also a fantasy, isn't it really? I think for me, what I'm looking at here is Quentin Grimes and Malachi Flynn.
Yeah.
They're the ones who I think have probably got the most upside in this, but they're getting sent to the Pistons, who is just, it's just a bit of a mess at the moment. And I do wonder with losing Bogdanovic, actually, they're going to be worse.
Yeah.
Because you were speaking about it before with Gordon Hayward being like the locker room presence. I find it difficult to believe that he was a bad locker room presence there. So how is getting rid of him going to make it better? That's what my sort of fear is for the Pistons, and they've been historically bad this year already. So
I don't know. I've been on the Slack with a couple of mates, basically talking about the Pistons, and there's a new prediction that they're going to get over 10 wins now.
look, Jaden Ivey's
There's only
been
3 to
playing-
go. That's a low bar, but
Look, Jaden Ivey's been playing better. Cade has actually been playing excellent. I think if he was on a team that had a winning record, he would be an all-star. I think that's not outlandish to say something like that.
I wonder how this ends for Detroit because there's some talent there.
Yeah, they've got talent, but I just think the next couple of years is going to be really, difficult to manage. So
For sure.
look, I think if we're talking about hobby upside, yes, we can talk about Alakai Flynn, but I think actually for me the winner of all of this, losing Alec Burks, losing Bogdanovic, I think this is going to be more shots for Jaden Ivey, and I think that's the
True.
one for me that I've sort of really been keeping like a bit of a sort of a half eye on. And then, of course, Cade Cunningham, that gives him a couple more shots. I think the other Detroit piece to talk about here, too, is Killian Hayes. So Killian's been waived. I know Al, a friend of the show, can we say he's heavily invested, or can we say that he just loves...
He used to be invested. I don't know. I can't imagine he's been accumulating much Killian Hayes.
Look,
I know he was focused on Killian Hayes a little while back.
If you get waived from the worst team in the league, where do you go to next? Particularly when you're
Washington.
That high.
Oh, wait, what? No, yeah, I don't.
Look,
I feel like...
all jokes aside, that's actually the stuff that Washington needs to be doing. They need to be taking flyers on, young kids.
Did they waive Jordan Poole?
Even if they waived Jordan Poole and picked up Killian Hayes, I'm not so sure that would actually fix the stink per se. So, all right,
goodness.
I think if we can do this, let's give this a go. So I think we should talk about the Charlotte Hornets because I think for me they've been the big movers and shakers this.
Are they the biggest winner or the biggest loser in the trade deadline, or are they just shaping things correctly?
Look, I don't think it's fair to call them a winner because I think if you're, that bad and you're trying to blow it up, it's not particularly a good thing. But I also think too, you need to give them respect for making a decision and going to it. So they traded away PJ Washington, which I'm probably a little bit surprised on this. They did get back Grant Williams, Seth Curry, and a first-round pick. So I think in terms of trading away an asset and getting assets back, I think they definitely, succeeded in that. They also got future draft equity, which I think is really important. I think the best player in this deal, though, is PJ Washington. Hobby-wise, this is, for me, there's only really two people out of all of the trades today that I think you need to keep an eye on, and PJ Washington is one of them. I think in terms of his value at the moment, which, frankly, you can pick up his silver 10s for, sub $50, what I'd be guessing off the top of my head.
Yeah.
I think, that's totally fine to, have a bit of a dabble on this guy. If the Dallas Mavericks make the playoffs and he's playing as well as he could, he's a skilled big guy, I think he'll fit really well with Luka because...
I'm bringing the stats up right now.
So Luka's already got Lively to play with in terms of a rim rolling big. They've also just picked up Gafford. That was another trade that the Mavericks picked up today. So I think they've got enough bigs around him, which lets PJ do PJ stuff. Which is shooting. He can dribble the ball a little bit. He can play pick and roll a little bit and basically just play off these guys. I think he's going to fit into this team really well. I like it a lot. I think defensively it's going to probably be where, it's going to be problematic, but, I think you can leave that conversation for another day. So PJ Washington, Gordon Hayward, we've already previously spoke about Terry Rozier. They then waived James Bouknight today too, which was a little bit of a story that went under the radar.
Yeah.
To be honest, someone texted me today to talk to me about this, and I hadn't picked it up at all. So I think for me, where this is a little bit tricky, or where I don't like this, is that he was the number 11 pick not that long ago.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind that they also drafted. No, let me rephrase that. They acquired Kai Jones on a draft day trade. And then also waived him. So you could effectively say they've thrown away 2 first-round draft picks.
Yeah,
if you want to be picky about it, you could say 3, because we're talking about now PJ Washington. And Bridges has been an absolute head case. You could almost say 4. And I think for me, that's very, that's very wasteful. It's very frustrating. So let's take 2 seconds now just to quickly look at the depth chart. My love for these depth charts is going to come through on this episode.
I feel like Russell's got a new obsession.
LaMelo Ball, Brandon Miller, Bridges, Grant Williams, and Nick Richards is going to be their starters. Look, I'm fine with that. I think if I'm nitpicking a little bit, I'd like to see Nick Smith Jr., who was their draft pick last year, be put into the starting lineup. Push Bridges to the 4, push Grant Williams to the 5. I think that will be a fun, run and gun team. Look at their second unit though: Seth Curry, Cody Martin, Leaky Black. I mean, this is getting bad in the second unit. Nathan Mensah, the third unit. Vasily Misic, Bryce McGowan's. They've got Miles Bridges and Grant Williams. They're talking about rotation pieces. Then you've got Trey Mann, who they picked up from OKC. I'm actually surprised Trey Mann isn't maybe in the third unit, but okay. That's
fine. It's actually very, very
it's bad.
weird.
It's bad, isn't it? Right? JT Thor is in the fourth unit, and then that's it for the fifth unit. It's all the same. So look, I think depth is going to be a problem for this team. We know LaMelo Ball is out probably for the rest of the year. I don't think they're going to be rushing.
Yeah, they're not rushing him back anytime soon.
Not
Seth Curry and Grant Williams are both day to day. I don't know.
So look, I think for me, the hobby action here is Brandon Miller. I think you have to keep an eye on this kid.
He's going to get a lot of opportunity. Yeah. Lot of opportunity.
And Miles Bridges is the other one. I think, and then I think for a deep cut, you look at Nick Smith. And I think Nick Smith is sort of, like a bit of a prospect. Look, I think he's got size. He's got the shooting numbers there. I think he's probably got enough to be an okay defensive player, maybe even above average. But, so that's my two hobby takeaways. So if you want to turn off the podcast now because you're not going to get any more hobby tips, it's PJ Washington for me and Nick Smith are the ones I'll be. Yeah.
Is there anything else that happened at the trade deadline that we
just one more thing about Charlotte? Sorry.
Oh, we're still on the Hornets.
The other reason why I want to talk about the Hornets is I want to go through their draft equity because I think if you're bottoming out this bad, right, you need to know where your draft picks are. So
did they trade for anything?
So this year's draft pick they owe to the Spurs, but it's protected 1 to 14. So they're going to be bad.
They're going to keep that one.
They're going to keep that pick, right? Now, this is where it gets really good, though. So basically, until 2030, they've got their own picks. So
do they have extra picks?
They've got a few extra picks, yeah. So they've got a pick from Boston, second-round pick in 24. Mm-hmm. They've got a second round in 2027 from Portland or the Pelicans. A second from the Clippers in 28. A second, and that's it. Sorry,
do they have any first-round picks? Extra ones?
No extra first.
So, but, they don't have any assets. How do you acquire first-round picks? Trading assets, and they didn't really.
So they did get a pick today from Dallas. That isn't in this list. It just hasn't been updated yet. So
is it a pick swap or a?
I think it's just a straight up.
Oh no, 2027 first-round pick. Yeah, I can see that.
So look, I think if you're a Hornets fan, I don't want to beat down on you guys. Because look, you do have something to be optimistic about. They've blown this up. They've put their line in the sand. They're building around LaMelo and Brandon Miller, Bridges. I'm okay with that. That's three pretty decent pieces. They've got all their draft picks moving forward, plus an extra one. It's okay. I think it's going to be okay.
They're not going backwards, but
they're not the Washington Wizards. They're not the Houston Rockets of last year. And look, I was very, very critical of them last year, and you can see what 12 months makes.
Yeah. True.
All right, let's smash through the rest of these trades, Ed.
I'm trying to see if there's anything that really catches my eye.
I was just going to go to the top and just go through the whole lot.
All right.
Pacers receive Corey Joseph, a second-round pick, and cash. The Warriors receive a second-round pick. Corey Joseph, in a separate report, is going to be waived. So he'll come out.
I feel like next week's All-Star week, but the waivers episode is going to be the interesting one.
Yeah. Celtics receive Jaden Springer. 76ers get a second-round pick. That, to me, is just a straight salary dump.
Yep.
In a separate move, the Celtics receive a second-round pick, and the Blazers get a Danilo Banton. Look, I like that kid. I think in terms of hobby, though, that's a really deep cut, and I don't see him doing a lot there at all.
Yeah.
The Kings get Robin Lopez and cash. The Bucks get the draft rights to Demetrios Agavanis, and Lopez has been waived already, I'm pretty sure. So
nice. Yep. So we've got Robin Lopez in the free agent pool.
The Grizzlies have waived Oladipo. That was a separate thing.
Yeah.
Now this is the complicated trade. The Sixers get Buddy Hield. The Pacers get Furkan Korkmaz, Doug McDermott, a second-round pick, another second-round pick, and some cash. The Spurs get Marcus Morris, a second-round pick, and some cash. So, look, this Buddy Hield thing is, to me, very Daryl Morey. He loves tinkering with his roster. He loves getting, just assets. The thing about Buddy though is he isn't like an elite 3-point shooter. And again, we know what Daryl values is
Mm,
3-point shots, shots in the restricted, like at the basket and free throws. So obviously he ticks off the 3-point. Look, I think
yeah.
Embiid's injured at the moment, but I think having shooting around a big like Embiid is never a terrible thing.
The plan that
I
is Embiid's going to be back before the end of the season, right? So that the Sixers can make a run.
you would you hope.
Yeah, he's not going to win the MVP because he hasn't played enough games, but he will be back.
I have a funny Buddy Hield anecdote actually. When I was in Chicago, the Pacers came to town, and I had okay seats, but I was down the end. I was behind the backboard,
Mm-hmm.
and I think I was in say row H. So I wasn't like courtside, but I was also
Yeah.
not that far away that I could still hear some of the chatter. Buddy Hield was like yapping to the referees, and I heard it vividly. Rick Carlisle yelling at him basically just to shut up and like sit down before he got a tech.
Oh, this is going to go down like a lead balloon. Well done,
So
Philly. You found a way to screw it again.
no. So my Buddy Hield take here is that sometimes teams want to acquire players, but they also want to get rid of players. I actually wonder if he just grinds Carlisle's gears, and it's like I'd be very happy this dude is gone.
Really?
Yeah, seriously. It was
Did they not just upgrade Patrick Beverly? Just another yappy one that can actually shoot?
I don't know. I look, I couldn't get that thought out of my head after I saw him get traded. I was like, it's very rare for a coach to say to a player basically to like sit
Shut
down,
up.
shut up.
Yeah, true. I don't know. Buddy Hield's been on the block for like... He's been in trade rumors for the better part of 3 seasons.
He was traded to the Pacers not that long ago. I actually hadn't heard a bunch of trade rumors for him. I was a little bit surprised by that actually, particularly with the way the Pacers play.
Well, he was last year. It was all about going to the Lakers with Turner and...
Those rumors with the Lakers, though, man, are created by
We're
Lakers
involved.
fans.
They're
You can't actually
created by
believe
the
that
Clippers
crap. No, they're
to
not.
unsettle Lakers fans.
The Bucks get Patrick Beverly and the 76ers get Campaign. Look, this for me is just, shifting around deck chairs. Look, I'm a bit surprised that Beverly was given up on because, again, like that's Daryl's boy, so
Is it though?
I don't think so.
I think James
Suns-
Harden's got some things to say about that.
Yeah, probably. The Suns receive Royce O'Neal and David Roddy. The Grizzlies receive a first-round pick swap.
Yep.
Shimizu Metu and Yuta Watanabe. So I'm super surprised about that actually because like I know KD loves Yuta and he's been shooting the absolute lights out this year. So I'm a little bit surprised by that. In saying that, Royce O'Neal is a 3-and-D guy. So
Yeah.
I think that does actually probably improve their roster. The David Roddy thing, where are you at with Roddy though? Do you think he'll make their rotation?
I don't think so. They might try him out. They might try him out because at this time of the season, there's a lot of. I think with the injuries, maybe.
The Suns are so deep, man. I just
Are they
to be honest,
though? One
I
bad
like their
week
depth.
and nobody's playing.
Yeah, sure.
I don't know. But you're probably right. They're probably trying to work out their final 8 to 10 to run into the postseason with, and yeah, maybe Roddy's not there, but I think Royce O'Neal's definitely on the radar for that.
Then the Nets receive, this is all part of the same trade, Keita Bates-Diop, Jordan Goodwin, draft rights to Vanja Marinkovic, and 3 second-round picks. So I think really the Nets here are just getting more future assets, really, aren't they?
Yeah.
Look, I think Keita Bates-Diop, I don't really see much play or hobby value for him. Jordan Goodwin, look,
No, we're scraping the barrel at the moment.
these are really deep cuts here, aren't they?
This is true.
Pistons are going to buy out veteran swingman Joe Harris. So look, someone else I'm sure will be linked to the Lakers.
Well, it's going to be interesting with all the
And this is the one I think you're going to froth over the most. So the Nets receive Dennis Schroeder and Thad Young, and the Raptors receive Spencer Dinwiddie. So after that we found a independent report that Dinwiddie's going to be bought out. The premise for that is that he's played 48 games this season. Once he gets to 50 games, he'll get a $1.5 million bonus. So The
So what's his
Raptors
contract
waived
worth per year?
18.5.
Yeah, so they're worried about 1.5 million. They're paying the guy 18.5. He plays
Look,
more
I
than
suppose
50
if you can
games.
save it, you save it, and also too, like being pragmatic. I'm not so sure the Raptors are trying to win this year, so maybe that helps their plight too. And
Yeah.
I don't look. I actually don't mind a bit of salary dumping, to be perfectly honest. But yeah, it does seem a bit tight, doesn't it?
It's
So look,
I don't know.
he's going to be waived. So I think this is where I think we talk to you and your Laker fandom. Do you think the Lakers will try and get Dinwiddie?
The stories have already started. Like
Yeah.
the Lakers, the Clippers, anyone in championship contention, people trying to top up off waivers. This is a really good place to get quality players without having to give up assets. Is the waivers.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, definitely.
And I think once Vanderbilt went down for the Lakers and D'Angelo Russell started making himself untradeable, because what I will say, watch this space with D'Angelo. He'll start playing like trash now. That the waivers is the best way to pick up other assets.
Yeah, sure.
Do you know what I
Do you
mean? Like,
think
and
he'll-
sign them for a little bit. I think Dinwiddie's going to be on their radar from the word go.
Do you think he'll fit in with their team, and do you think that he'll fit in with LeBron? I think that's the real question.
I think it will be a very good fit with LeBron. It's
Okay.
yeah, we need that. We need a point guard.
Okay.
We need someone to run the second unit that isn't LeBron James. Apparently, Gabe Vincent's decided he doesn't want to play basketball. He just get his $10 million and stay injured.
To be fair to that, look,
I know. I'm just salty that every time they pay.
they want Gabe Vincent out there. I think he's just, mortally wounded, the poor guy. you know?
Yeah. It just seems like one of those. You spend more than $10 million on a player, then all of a sudden they never take the court, so you never get to see them fit in with the unit, and it's sort of a waste of an asset. It's really frustrating, especially with this salary cap going. You've invested in a player in the offseason, you're really excited about it. You never get to see it eventuate on the court because he's either rushing, keeps getting setbacks, whatever it is. But you need to move forward and plug that hole, right?
Yeah, totally.
And
Totally.
off waivers getting Dinwiddie, who's, as we've just said, contract is worth 18, sounds like an upgrade.
Yeah.
So I'd like to say, yeah, it'd be very, very interesting. I mean, they could waive Schroeder as well, and we can get the band back together.
Mavericks get Daniel Gafford, and the Wizards get Rashad Holmes and a second-round pick. So, look, I really like Gafford. I like him a lot. I think he's a skilled big guy. I think he's got enough touch around the basket that he can put the ball in the hole. I think defensively, look, he's not amazing, but at the same time, he'll get enough stops. And I think rebounding wise, he's pretty good. Look, I think where he's going to probably be the biggest beneficiary, though, is just playing with Kyrie and playing with, of course, Luka.
Sure.
And the really interesting one for me is Holmes, because he was literally poached away from the Kings. So the Mavs have got this guy, they got their man, and then they've given up on him. But the other way you could look at it is they got their guy, but then they got a better one because they traded with a team who's just complete knucklehead. So look, I've actually
bad.
got
They're
a
actually pretty bad.
I bought a really big Daniel Gafford lot, and look, I'm definitely not going to flip it to make money out of it. I've definitely lost cash on it. That's totally fine. But look, I think there is something there with this guy. So
Yeah, probably.
very low key.
Very deep cut for
Oh, that is another deep cut. We might as well call this episode the Deep Cut Symphony.
Russell's Black Friday deals.
Pistons get Daniel House, a second-round pick, and cash considerations. The 76ers get a second-round pick. Again, Daryl's, trading his boy away.
Of
Look,
course.
that's just a salary dump. Fantasy, hobby-wise with Daniel House, there's not much going on there. All right, this one does get me a little bit excited, actually. The Raptors get Kelly Olynyk and Ochai Agbaji. I actually really like Agbaji. I think he can defend. I think his athleticism
This is a weird trade.
is elite. Like, honestly, I would put him in Jalen Johnson type athleticism. And I think that in terms of his size and his skill, there's enough there to take a dip on. the other thing I really like about this is like a very Raptors playing into the future where everyone's playing positionless basketball. Like, just put him down on that list of, that positionless basketball sort of thing. I think he's going to fit into that team really well. I think he and Scotty Barnes playing together is going to be kind of cool because I think they'll fill in each other's sort of, strengths and weaknesses. Particularly what I'm really saying here is Scotty Barnes is going to make up for Oche's weaknesses. So I like this a lot.
It'd be interesting.
The Jazz get Otto Porter Jr., who's, a 3-and-D veteran. I don't think he's going to move the needle anything. Obviously here what they're prospecting on is Kira Lewis, who's had horrendous injuries to start his career. He's had a lot of bad luck.
Yeah.
I'm kind of glad he's getting a fresh start. And then, of course, the Jazz get another first-round pick. So I think at the end of the day, the Jazz didn't care. They were like, we want to get rid of these two guys. Who do you want from us? Okay, that's fine. As long as we get a pick, that's fine. We've got a deal. I think that's, literally...
Sounds very Danny Ainge.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah, very much.
I think we should do the last two, and then we've pretty much covered everything.
Okay.
Yeah.
What have we got?
The Wolves got Monte Morris. The Pistons got Troy Brown and Shake Milton and a second-round pick. Look, I think the best player out of this deal is probably Monte Morris. That actually hurts my, card-collecting ego to say it. I've always had a really soft spot for Shake Milton. I think... in an alternative universe, I think he could have a different career. I think he's got a lot of skill, but he's just never quite made it. So, bit of a shame. Again, the classic, the good team gets better. So the Celtics get Xavier Tillman, who is a very serviceable veteran that's ready to play today. I think this is the move that a good team makes to make their team slightly better around the edges. They gave up Lamar Stevens and 2 second-round picks that, will probably turn out to be nothing. Look, I do get... Sometimes, when I actually heard about this trade, I was kind of angry. Not angry is not the right word, but just, frustrated. I'm like, it's just a good team getting better again. But then, my other sort of thought, too, is you can't actually criticize these teams because they are trying to get better, and they're giving up assets to get... You know what I mean? Like, you can't sort of have it both ways. Like,
I was going to ask about that. I'm like, how do you feel about... So, Boston have done this...
Yeah.
To acquire Tillman, and they've used assets.
Yeah.
Versus waiting till the waivers are cleared and then grabbing players.
I would suspect someone like Tillman wouldn't have been waived.
Correct. But
he's
you know what I mean? Old. Are they looking for a quality player off waivers, or do they want a better quality player?
I would actually say, in the specific instance of the Celtics, what you're talking about, I actually think their big pieces are filled.
Of course.
What they need is stuff around, they need players for 13, 14, 15. In my mind, when I look at that roster, they're very deep. They're very skilled. They've got athletes at most positions. They've got your boy, Derek White, who's, just...
tearing it up.
Literally setting the world on fire at the moment.
He is. Should check in on his prices at some point. See if he's past $10.
Yeah, look.
Jordan Poole, $1,000 sold. No.
So look, that's where I'm at with that. Yeah. Last trade, and then we've done them all. We've done really well. We're up to 53 minutes. This is fantastic for us. Pistons receive Simone Fontage. Oh, guys, this is just too hard, this one. And the Jazz get Kevin Knox, a second-round pick, and Gabriel Procida. So look. This is probably the only move out of all of this I can actually compliment the Pistons on. They've actually gone out and got, a good young prospect that can actually, develop into something.
Which is positive.
I think the sad story for me, though, is Kevin Knox and all of this. This guy's just been passed around like a bag of chips. When he first came out of college, he was drafted by the Knicks. People were buying this guy. We talk about money being lost on Zion. No one talks about the money that was lost on Kevin Knox, Look,
the Jets crackers of the NBA.
There's still a slither in my head where I'm like, it's a bit like Shake Milton for me. The guy's got the NBA tools. He's actually like a 3-and-D kid. Why didn't he ever pan out? I think there's some guys just never quite pan out. Look, I can't imagine he's going to go to this team and have a career resurgence, but
no, but he might have
crazier things have happened.
Yeah, you think about
he could get waived.
Hang on. What's happened at the Jazz recently? Do you know what I mean? Like Lowry Markkinen career resurgence.
Yeah.
Like Clarkson, just
They've given guys opportunity when opportunity wasn't there previously. 100%. Yeah. So
I mean, there's a possibility.
Alrighty, I've got 3 more things in the run sheet for us to quickly go through.
Brilliant.
This is running on from last week. Trying to find kabooms for under 250 AUD.
Did someone find one?
No, nothing. Still.
Are we? None? Is
dust blowing down the road, mate. That's it. That section's over.
We're just gonna. Can we check on this regularly?
I'm gonna get a lot of mileage out of this joke, mate. This is gonna go on for years. Episode 250.
Show us your kabooms for $250.
250. The LeBron James, Bronny James Super Factor 1 of 1 dual autograph has been pulled.
Oof.
The good news, heart-warming, endorphin rushing story about this, though, is it wasn't pulled by Backyard Breaks.
Oh, okay.
It was pulled by a gentleman that honestly looks like a very mums and pops like card shop. It's called Jim and Steve Sports Cards. He kind of looks like a middle-aged guy like us, just like frothing over this,
Did he know what it was? Did you imagine like is it a Pokemon card? No, it's a basketball.
Can I be honest with you with this guy? I reckon he's owned and worked this card shop for the last 45 years.
Really?
I am certain he knows what's up.
It's pretty cool that he's the one that pulled it then.
I'll share this onto our socials because I think this is like a very good hobby moment. I think that's the best way to say it.
Yeah.
And I think we should close the show with this one. This is from you. A card ladder comparison.
Yes.
Nikola Jokic, BGS 9.5 select gold number 210 die cut rookie card.
It was an interesting one, wasn't it?
Last sold for $10,492 exactly. Card ladder valued at $10,832. Versus the LeBron James refractor rookie card, BGS 9.5, last sold for $11,590. Card ladder values at $9,251. I will leave this as an open floor discussion for you, Ad.
Look, it's the gold is numbered to 10, right?
Yeah.
I'm taking a number to 10 card over a... Actually, I want to know the pop count on the LeBron.
I think we should start at the pop count of LeBron. And I think you've said the right thing in terms of pop count of that. Look, I think if I'm being brutally honest here, let's just put the population aside for a second. The fact that a die cut sold for 10,000 USD, to me, is like, that is the part that's blowing my mind the most. Because...
Really?
Well, most die cuts don't sell for 50% of a regular card.
They also don't get the 9.5 grading because there's... So a die cut, for those playing at home, there's more corners. So it's a lot harder to gem a card like this.
Yeah.
So a card like this doesn't gem because looking at this Jokic, you've got a top, bottom are both considered corners. You've got another 4 or 2 in each corner, so that's 8 corners, 10 corners.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, putting the maths like the side, there's just a lot more corners to like.
They get damaged easily. They're criticized. Yeah. The shape of the card is scrutinized so much more.
Yeah.
Versus a normal rectangular card. So the fact that this sold for this price, you're right, is amazing because they don't grade high like this.
Yeah. So the pop on the BGS 9.5 is 442. But that isn't... this is really Ryan's pledge at the moment, isn't it? Where he's trying to look at total populations for card, not just like, single population. So, look, the true pop for this refractor is... It could be thousands. Like,
I'm looking at the LeBron, and the BGS 9.5 has got a pop count of 442.
Yep.
The PSA 10 has got 177, and the black has got a pop count of 4.
Does it really?
Yeah. PSA 9 has 377.
Okay.
So there's a few out there.
So just on those that you listed, is close to 1,000. So
Correct.
to say that there's 2,000, I think is not That's not outrageous.
Not at all. Not at all. Yeah.
So look, I think this actually really just comes back to the conversation we were having last week, wasn't it? I think
Yeah.
this is a price based on pop and, not too much more about it.
Well, I also think with LeBron, the seal, like we're not going to get crazy spikes out of LeBron. Like, this is a steady burn now. Like, you can't tell me that LeBron's career is going to evolve any much further than, I mean, he wins another championship maybe, but it's year 21. We know what LeBron's done. Jokic is, 15, 16? So he's not even 10 years into his career.
Look, I think the person who paid that much for it, when I say that, I'm talking about the Jokic card right now. I think they've got serious cannolis here. Like, that is not a risk-free purchase. Whereas a BGS 9.5...
LeBron's not going down. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I feel
Agree completely.
I mean, in sports cards, is there a safer card to buy?
All right, so year 10 LeBron, are you buying a numbered LeBron for, like, a crazy price thinking LeBron's going to be one of the greatest players of all time?
I personally think
yeah,
the refractor is safer than a Jordan rookie just for the fact of, like, how many Jordan rookies there are,
Rarity.
how many faked ones there are. Like,
sure.
Do you know what I mean? Like, for me, that's just so difficult to navigate in my head. Like, I really... Maybe if you said to me a Steph Curry rookie was safer than a LeBron, I would probably...
So, Jokic, I'll go back across to Jokic, though.
Yeah, sure.
This card is a rookie card and it's numbered to 10. There is a chance now, unless SGA wins his first MVP, that Nikola Jokic wins his third MVP this season. That potentially is a 2-time NBA champion with 3 MVPs.
Yep.
And he is 8 or 9 years into his career. That numbered to 10 card, now how many people have won 3 MVPs? Like, we're talking elite company. I think a numbered card of that magnitude, like, this could be a 6-figure card if Jokic is a 3-time champion.
I think where I'm getting caught up in my head, though, is it's select. So it's not Prism. And not only is it not Prism, it's also a die cut.
Who's comparable? How do you compare a die cut like this?
Look, in my head, it's almost 50% less.
Ooh. Interesting. I think a high-graded die cut is incredible, but... All right.
And look, so you can turn that around. You can say, okay, fine. So then his straight rookie card would be 20 grand. And look, maybe that's okay.
I'm gonna BGS 9.5. Stuff it. Oh wait, but for those playing at home and not watching, because Russell's not watching my screen, I'm bringing up Luca. I should bring up the select. Actually, I'm not playing fair. Can we get a select Luca? Select Luca's not even on the front page. Oh, gee, select is really
You might need to go to 130 point maybe.
No, we've got concourse base. Courtside tie-dye, numbered to 25.
Yep.
I was trying to find a die cut. Oh, Premier level base die cut.
Okay.
Die cut to 249 hasn't been sold since August 2020. Last sold for 1750.
Sold in 20.
No, PSA 10 sold the 249. I'm trying to find a lower numbered.
The problem with that a little bit though too is the time that it sold. Right, that's like sort of crazy time.
Yeah. Okay, so the BGS 9.5 of the numbered to 25 select Luca.
Yeah.
13,000 in October 2022. I just think the low numbering on it makes it incredibly valuable.
Yeah.
I don't know how to comp it though. Because you're right, the tie-dye is the die cut is very different.
Look, I think that's just my initial thought. So I
Yeah.
think now that you've passed that out a bit more, that actually makes a bit more sense. And I think fundamentally, a rare card is a rare card, and that is a rare card. And that's the end of the conversation, right? So
Yeah.
while you were talking about that, I just pulled up Jokic's gold to 10, his Prism rookie.
Yeah.
PSA 10. Okay, so this hasn't sold for 3 years, so this is going to be a little bit of a difficult conversation, but
Sure.
it last sold for 12,000. So, in my very rough estimates, I would say that's at least doubled. So let's call it 24,000, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So maybe this person who bought this card was like, "Look, I can't afford this for 24. What is the best card that I can get in that 10 to 12 sort of range?" And maybe they were like, "This is the rarest card that I can get.
Yeah.
That's gold, high graded, for him." So I think when you're using that type of rationale that I completely just fabricated in my head.
But this is all hypothetical, right? Like we're trying to crystal ball predict the future.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
Like,
okay, so let's stick with that crystal ball. So that 10 of the Jokic, is that going up or down in the next 10 years?
up,
Okay, and the LeBron refractor, is that going up or down in the next 10 years?
up.
Yeah, right.
I think they're both going up, but what I'm saying is the Jokic goes up on a very, very, very high spike trajectory, whereas the LeBron's the slow burn, the asset that just slowly increases by your steady 5 to 8%. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whereas every time this Jokic goes up, it doubles.
Yeah, right.
Do you know what I mean? And then it doubles again because there's only 10 of them. And in the 9.5, you're not going to get a high population count.
You don't worry about Select sort of being the ugly sister, or the set that's not as popular or something like this?
I still think it's a very low number count rookie card. Do you know what I mean? Like, I still reckon Golden would market the living bejesus out of it.
Put up some ads at Times Square, do you reckon?
Something like that. This is depending on obviously the man's career. Like if this is all he's ever achieved, then you're right. Maybe it only slowly goes up. Maybe it doesn't go up a lot. I don't think it goes down. I don't see Jokic's trajectory being he's done.
Yeah.
I feel like Jokic might make history this year with his third MVP, and that puts him into very elite company. And I just think that means that, and look, we'll call the LeBron what it is. It's a silver prism, right? The equivalent thereof.
Yeah, sure. That's cool.
Right? Sure. In 15 years, the Jokic silver prism might be worth the same as that LeBron was now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But I think you add the extra history of what Jokic could potentially achieve and the ceiling he gets to. The low numbered, just if it's a positive trajectory for his career, the increase in value is more of a spike because of the low number.
Yeah.
Can you imagine like hundreds of people trying to accumulate Jokic rookies? It doesn't matter what set it is at this point. If it's the number to 5, 10, or 1 of ones, they're elite company.
Yeah.
In my eyes, of course. Like, as I said, we're all crystal balling and...
No, definitely. So I feel like I don't even really need to ask you this question. So which card would you prefer?
I'd take the Jokic, yeah.
Yeah. See, I think I would go for the LeBron because I wonder if, as fluid and as liquid as Jordan has been for us the last, 10, 15 years, is LeBron give me that next fluid guy where...
Agreed.
It doesn't matter what you've got of his, it will just be bought and sold and traded, every couple of days on eBay and Goldens and all the rest of it. And at the end of the day, it is a bit of a popularity contest.
It is.
And LeBron is LeBron. And I think for me, where I'm probably leading with this is I just feel in my mind the LeBron is a much safer pick, whereas I feel like the Jokic. I think everything you've said, I actually don't have a problem with it. Like particularly, we just had this huge conversation last week about population, and I feel like that's definitely hanging with me. But it's still select and it's still a die cut, and I can't get that sort of rolling momentum out of my head. You know what I mean? I think that's sort of a big, sort of thing to jump over. But, I think then the next question you sort of ask yourself, okay, so this person paid 10.5 for it. So, okay, what should they have really paid for it? Look, maybe that's actually the right price, and
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a very good response. Yeah.
I just think that card needs someone very particular to purchase it. Whereas I think the LeBron, you'll be able to sell this. You send it into Golden this week, and then the next week the cash is in your account. I think that's done.
Oh, Golden will transfer the money now with a guarantee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I have no doubts.
LeBron refractor is like
agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Don't doubt that for a second.
Liquid gold. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like I've said, I'm not saying LeBron's going to go down. It's actually that steady growth. It's the guaranteed asset. But I think I have a feeling that the way Jokic's career is going, there's a chance that card buys a house one day.
Yeah, he's a beast.
You know what I mean? Like it's...
Yeah.
Yeah, I did my dough on my Thomas Bryant to 10. I'm joking. I pulled it out of a pack. It was...
You didn't take money out of your mortgage, did you, to buy that?
Imagine that. You just get it. You're like, I got a Prism Gold to 10. This is amazing. And the guy just never plays a game. That's how lucky or unlucky this hobby can be. Brutal.
Final thoughts, Ad?
More exciting than Black Friday sales is the trade deadline. That's final thoughts on that. And if those that haven't seen the Kobe unveiling statue, even if you're not a Lakers fan, it's a very, I don't know. I thought it was a very good ceremony.
And there's clips up on Insta. There's clips up on Insta too. You don't need to watch the whole hour.
Yeah.
Tune in for 2 minutes and check it out. Look, it's definitely worth giving 10 minutes of your mind space to it.
Yeah, you've got some greats on there. You've got Kareem talking. You've got Phil Jackson. There's some serious NBA royalty up there. So.
Look, I think my final thoughts is kudos to the Hornets for blowing it up. Good on them for not dragging this.
Pay attention, Washington.
Mediocre team out. Like they've been mediocre for a few years now, haven't they? Like it's enough mediocrity, either be good or be bad. So they've chosen. And yeah,
why not?
So who else should be blown up now? Okay, let's. This is what I want to close the show with. So who else should have been blown up?
Turning into the Lord of the Rings, we're gonna have about 6 endings. We blow up Washington. Not literally anyone that tries to.
We've said that. The Pistons, I mean, how much more can you blow? They
Before any Americans try and have this show cancelled, we don't physically mean to blow up Washington.
The Spurs can't.
The Spurs aren't blowing it up. They're gonna glow up in a couple of seasons. You watch.
The Blazers haven't. Who could they have traded away?
They blew it up when they got rid of Lillard.
Maybe Jeremy. Yeah, and then the Grizzlies have been trading away assets. So actually,
Grizzlies are blowing it.
I can't really criticize too many more teams.
Celtics. The Clippers should blow it up, in my opinion. That's just because I don't like the Clippers.
They're currently 4th in the West.
Correct. They just blow it up. Give up. You know you curse.
Do you know who the best team in the West is? Okay, this is it. Let's end.
Oh, don't. Oh, why did I even say that?
Who's the best team in the West?
Oklahoma City.
The Minnesota Timberwolves.
Oh, good. It's not the Clippers. Whew.
Yeah. Alrighty, mate. Thank you so much. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thanks for a great evening recapping the trade deadline and listening to my Kobe stories.